Rodney is, not just because he's passed, but always best supervisor I ever had. There was nothing that he wouldn't do for a guy. He always saw the positive in guys. I mean, guys would pick on certain guys, and he would be right there just to boost the guys' morale that we were picking on. One of the things, how I conduct myself since the World Trade Center, is in the spirit of Rodney. He had such a motivation and such an easygoing spirit, non-judgmental, truly a superior human being. Somebody really to be proud of. I really miss him.
I feel it's very unfortunate that a lot of new guys have come into this division and they'll never have a clue of how good a boss could be. And I mean, I'm prejudiced because Rodney is a friend of mine and he was my supervisor. I've known Rodney since he came onto this job. I worked in the 7-1 precinct and Rodney came in as an NSU officer. I was impressed by him back then. When he walked in, he was a proud guy. He was headstrong. You know, he had his beliefs, and he had strong conviction about the things that he believed in. You know, and I remember when he left, you know, wishing him good luck. And I remember seeing him a few years later in emergency service. I'm like, hey, Rod, how are you, man? I can't believe you're in emergency. Yeah. I said, how is it? He goes, tell you the truth, Ron? Great. In the 18 years of my career, I've never had a better boss. And not because he's my friend, because I know bosses. And this man was a superior supervisor. He was a superior human being. And you ask any member in this truck, was Rodney fair? And no one could cross their face and tell you no. No one.
He loved emergency. You know, a lot of people, I think everybody here knew that. He liked the guys, he liked the work. He loved being a cop. Rodney was always proud to be a cop, and he was always proud of his uniform. He would say he didn't want to be in plain clothes. He would tell you that. He wanted to be in uniform. He liked being in uniform. He looked good in uniform, and he just felt good about that. Not many people get to do what they love to do. Be assured, he loved coming to work, and he loved doing this work. So, and he made you love it.
He wasn't just Sergeant Gillis. He was your friend. I mean, I don't know how much more you can say, but that guy truly was our hero. It's not because the cameras are on or whatever. It's just coming from the heart. He was our hero prior to September 11th and today. And he will always be remembered here. Your dad was a very special person. I know we don't need to tell you guys that, but for us, that's the way we felt.
He came to emergency first, and then about a year later, I came to emergency, and we wound up partnering up. So we wound up working together for a few years. So it's pretty good for me. All sorts of jobs, all sorts of perp jobs, water jobs, snake jobs.
Snake job. Do the snake job. Talk about the snake.
You with the snake? You think? Yeah, the snake one. Okay. Well, the snake job was the only time I saw him maybe a little bit afraid. Maybe just a little bit. He wouldn't admit it, but we know the truth, right, Ron? Rod and I were working together. I was his chauffeur, and a police officer from the 84th precinct said to Ron, come in the back, I want to show you something. So Ron goes in the back, I'm finishing up the paperwork, you know, just kind of talking, and Ron comes back, he says, Maddie, we got a little bit of a situation back here. So we got a few snakes. So I walk in the back, I go, tremendous snakes. They were like, we later learned they were actually anacondas. Yeah, they were like anywhere between maybe 10, and I think the longest one was 19 feet. And they were about, this large around. I went to the truck, I called him, I said, Rod, you know, because I call him, he's my sergeant, but he's Rodney to me. You know, so I said, Rod, I said, we have this situation here, so there's a lot of big snakes down here. So he says, Maddie, come on, you know, what do you mean? I said, there's big snakes. He says, come on, stop. So I said, I'm telling you they're big snakes. He thinks I'm being a girl.
I said, Maddie, give me that phone.
Yeah.
Rodney, listen to me. Are you listening? There's some really big snakes.
He says, listen, he says, I'll be right over. So he comes over, and you have to know, Rodney, you have to know. He gets out of the car. He's like, where are these snakes? I said, so he goes back in the room. He comes back. You know, he's dark. He comes back, he's like white as a sheep. He's like, you're not kidding. They're really big snakes. We found someone, we got someone from the Center for Animal Care and Control, and they came down and they assisted us, but we had to actually help them because there was only one guy. The first snake that we got out, Rodney and I happened to be in a room together, and the snake is, if you could picture, he's in a case. And this snake is huge. The snake starts, pss, pss, and he's like, really, me and Rodney are looking at each other. So we grab him, he grabs him with the snake tongs, and we had to grab him and pull him out. And the snake is just going all kind of crazy. So I'm holding on to the snake, and Rodney's standing there. I'm telling you, he's standing there. So Wes is looking at him, so Wes says to him, grab him. So Rodney goes just like this. He said, who, me? And he says, yeah, you. Rodney's just like cursing, and he's jumping all around and everything. But he holds him and everything. And I said to him, I never saw you scared of nothing. He says, if you ever tell anybody, so I guess he's going to come back and kill me now. He says, I'll kill you. Just remember, how much he loved you and what a brave guy he was, and that how much people respected and loved him. And not just September 11th. I mean, a lot of people were talking about it because of that. But the truth is that anybody here, I really believe, you could have had the same conversation before September 11th. And that's what's special about Rodney, that people truly respected him, not just because he was a sergeant or anything. They respected him for the man that he was, and and how he carried himself. And he took care of all of us. He took care of his family, took care of his children, and he just had broad shoulders, and he was able to hold up a lot of people extremely well. So just always be proud. Just hold your head up, because your daddy was a very, very special guy. We'll always carry him in our hearts, and I think that we all are maybe a little bit better people because he was with us. So thank you, guys.
Your dad shared a lot of himself with us and had a lot of love for your dad. Rodney and Alicia, you guys are kind of young, and when you're old enough and you're ready, you can come to me and I'll share whatever I have of your dad with you. JC, you are old enough now, and I know you don't know us and you may not feel comfortable, but I'll share your dad with you also, all that I remember and all that I felt. And believe me, I love your dad. I love your dad.
I just want to say thanks to Mrs. Gilliam and to Nana, to Rodney, JC, and Alicia, just for letting him be with us. I don't think I'll ever work with or for another better person. I really appreciate the time that we spent together. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
It was like my little brother that got older than me, I watched him mature. I watched him become like a man, a supervisor.
I know what happened. I'm grateful to be here, to be alive, and to be all right. And I'm grateful because when I came in that day, they told me all these guys were going. And, but everybody here wishes they were with him.
Your dad was right there, leading the way and bringing us out safely.
Your dad was our strength, and we were his. Really, we were his.
Any one of us, will be there for you anytime you need us. And we know that if it was the other way around, it would be the same way. And we really don't know how much more we can do, but whatever it is, any one of us, anytime, day or night, because that's what he would have done for us, we will be there. And I hope that you all follow in his footsteps and become leaders and proud people like he was. And crying's okay. You can see you got a bunch of grown people here crying because that's what Rodney did to us, and we all lost a piece of our heart, and we'll never forget.
We'll never forget.
Monday, they're not there. But there's still 4 guys.
Rodney was still here on his own time doing some paperwork in the office, and as soon as he heard the call come in, he didn't hesitate. He threw his uniform back on and off he went. And when he got there, he did the things that he had to do to rescue the people that were inside the towers.
I couldn't get to Brooklyn fast enough because I knew Rodney was there. Just, it was no doubt in my mind that he was down at those towers. He appreciated the magnitude of those buildings and the beauty of those buildings. It's just something that he always talked about and enjoyed.
I was headed home when the conductor said to the passengers, "Look out the window. World Trade Center's on fire." So I immediately called home and told my wife I wasn't coming home, and then I called the truck to speak to Rodney. So Craig picked up the phone and said, "Rodney's not here any longer." Rodney and a group of guys went down to the World Trade. So I said, "Listen, Craig, I'm going to continue into the city." I said, "Take my gear down to the World Trade and I'll meet you down there." By the time I got downtown, one building had collapsed already, and I was asking everybody out there, all the other officers, had they heard from Rodney, and they said, no, they haven't heard from Rodney or Sergeant Coughlin or their two teams. So I teamed up with Tony Johnson. We headed towards the North Tower, which was still standing. Again, they called for Sergeant Gillis, Sergeant Coughlin, and Sergeant Curtin. And Sergeant Curtin answered up, "I'm on the second floor, we're on our way out, we just have a few more people to evacuate." When we were, I would say a few steps, but maybe a block away, we heard the building start rumbling, and we looked up, and we saw what we didn't believe, the North Tower coming down, and we turned and we left. We got out of the area as fast as we could, and the building came down, and they didn't hear from Sergeant Curtin any longer.
I think the last transmission I heard, I know this was Rodney for a fact, when he said, "Clear the air." I guess he knew what was happening. And he said he was on the 21st floor. I don't know if he was coming up or going down or what he heard. But once he said that, "Clear the air," I don't know, I didn't hear anything after that. Because as we're walking across the street to go into the building, somebody just said, "Run." And we look up and the building is coming down. We started running. And it was just dead silence. Didn't hear anything after that, because within 10 seconds, the place was complete darkness. You couldn't see what was going on, or you couldn't hear anything. It was an eerie silence.
Rodney and some of the other senior officers had a special connection with the World Trade. They had been here in '93 when it was bombed the first time, and they had rushed down and they attacked the building at different sides and from the roof, and they rescued a lot of people then. So I think when he heard it this time, I think he knew exactly what was going on, like a lot of other guys, and they got together and they approached the building the exact same way. And they were looking to do the same thing, get as many people out of there as possible. I'm sure he constantly reassured these guys that everything was going to be okay.
Due to his dedication to the unit and the job in the city, I feel that's why he had no second thoughts about responding to that location, because he knew we were going to be there, he knew other police officers were going to be there, the Port Authority was going to be there, and he knew that things had to be done. And he did provide a lot of leadership, at the scene in the past and at the scene that day.